The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is arguing now that states may establish an official state religion, and he sees absolutely no problem with an individual state deciding to make Christianity the official state religion. It is a constitutional horror, ladies and gentlemen. Justice Thomas believes that the First Amendment's Establishment Clause does not apply to the states. The Establishment Clause is the part of the First Amendment which says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. The Establishment Clause not only forbids the government from establishing an official religion, but it also prohibits government actions that unduly favor one religion over another, or one religion over having no religion at all. And while Thomas believes that the Establishment Clause, quote, probably prohibits the federal government from establishing an official national religion, he says there is no problem at all if states want to do it. And this all came in a recent disastrous Supreme Court ruling that found Christian prayers used to open government meetings are constitutional. And Justice Thomas went even further than to say that they are constitutional and said that we should actually condone sectarian prayers at government functions. And in his dissenting opinion, he disputes the widely accepted notion that the First Amendment's ban on the establishment of religion applies to state or local governments. MSNBC summarized this opinion as, if policymakers in your state choose today to establish Christianity as the official state religion, Clarence Thomas believes that would be entirely permissible under the First Amendment. It's a position that Clarence Thomas has actually mentioned before. Back in 2011, he made a similar argument. Rob Thomas, writing for Americans United, summarized it, saying, perhaps most shockingly, Thomas once again states his view that the First Amendment's religious liberty provisions apply only to the federal government. In his view, the 50 states are free to establish any religion they want. In Thomas's world, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution was apparently never ratified. The problem with this is not only that it is outrageous, but that we have so many Christians in this country who agree with Thomas as long as it's Christianity being established, but would argue that the state establishing Islam as the official religion would, of course, be completely against the Constitution.
Right. But I would ask, what would really be the point? It's already pretty much well established that this is a quote, Christian nation.
You're
right?
absolutely right. I mean, if we look at what holidays do we have that are connected to religion that are federal holidays? Well, we've got Christmas, right? We have Easter, which is always on a Sunday, but it's still federally recognized. There is one religion which has holidays in this country, and it is the Christian faith.
Right. So I don't really see, I wouldn't really care if a state wanted to make their official religion Christianity. I would just hope that overall federal law trumps whatever crazy things they try to do within that state.
But so, Lewis, to be clear, you're not saying you wouldn't care in the sense that you think it's a good or constitutional thing. You're just saying you see the federal government already violating this to such an extent that what difference does it make?
Exactly. Right. I wouldn't really support it. I wouldn't be proud of it, but it wouldn't really change anything.
What if an Islamic state, and by state I mean one of the 50 U.S. states, decided to lower the age of consent to 9 years old, or a Christian state said, we're going to kill gays, as guests on my program have suggested? Or, I mean, remember, the Mormon religion had a position on black people for most of its history where black people were actually inferior. That's the type of thing that Clarence Thomas is saying would be okay as long as the states do it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, update on the Clive and Bundy gun-toting, tax-evading militia in Nevada. FBI agents, listen to this, have finally started an investigation into the events surrounding a potentially deadly showdown 1 month ago at the ranch owned by Clive and Bundy. The I-Team for 8 News Now, local news in that area, has confirmed that FBI agents have launched a formal investigation into the alleged death threats, intimidation, and possible weapons violations that culminated in a dangerous showdown on April 12th. FBI agents spoke to an entire squad of Metro officers who were on the scene, and they were acting as a buffer between the crowd and the Bureau of Land Management. There are reports of the gun-toting militia members hiding behind women and children, using them as human shields. Well, Lewis, I know it's been a month to the day. I'm glad to say they're not jumping to any conclusions, and they're saying we're going to take our time. We waited a month, and now we're going to begin to look into whether there might have been anything that should have been actionable in terms of criminality 1 month ago. It's just incredible. 1 month.
It is incredible. And while to us that seems like they really took their time and were reasonable and didn't do anything in haste, you can't expect militiamen and people who support Cliven Bundy to think that way about it. They're probably going to be outraged and completely furious, and this could lead to more, a violent altercation.
It could, but Lewis, imagine the outrage from the right if the Black Panthers had armed themselves, had taken over a housing complex in an inner city, for example, instead of in a Nevada cattle ranch, and threatened locals while brandishing weapons and blockading public roads while hiding behind women and children. I think it would have been over pretty quickly. I think law enforcement would have been involved in a drastically different way. And rightly so, that would have been correct in that scenario. And the same thing would have been correct in this scenario. But instead, we've got a month of cheerleading in the media until the racist comments from Cliven Bundy become so egregious that not even Sean Hannity can defend the guy. And now we have an investigation.
Well, you're right. I agree with you, but at least there's an investigation, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully there are some criminal charges.
We will continue to follow it and see what happens at Cliven Bundy's cattle ranch in Nevada. Remember those anti-gay potential HGTV hosts, David and Jason Benham? We talked to you about it last week. They were going to be hosting a show about flipping houses on HGTV. It turned out they were incredibly anti-gay, xenophobic, anti-Muslim, just completely outrageous extremists. And HGTV said, we're not doing the show anymore. They've been doing a round of interviews now, and we're going to go through this piece by piece. Here are David and Jason Benham on Aaron Burnett's CNN show. I was on this program not too long ago. And here they talk about the gay agenda. The gay agenda. Watch this.
So let me play something that you said back in September of 2012.
If 87% of Americans are Christians, and yet we have abortion on demand, we have no-fault divorce, we have pornography and perversion, we have a homosexuality in the agenda that's attacking the nation.
Do you still stand by that, a homosexuality and an agenda that's attacking the nation?
If you continue to play that out, you will see that I talked about all of these other things, and that the church has remained silent and just sat and built big churches. And one of the things that's important is that never have I ever spoken against homosexuals as individuals and gone against them. I speak about an agenda, and that's really what the point of this is.
Yeah, the gay agenda called equality, where gay people aren't discriminated against. We've really got to root out that gay agenda, Lewis.
Yeah, this is like conspiracy theory stuff. The agenda, the gay mafia, it's kind of all part of the same thing, right?
It completely is. And the conspiracy theories from the Benhams, particularly David Benham, are not that limited. I'm going to play a little clip for you. This is David Benham now speaking a few years ago at the Latrobe Abortion and Family Planning Clinic. And it sounds at first kind of like a generic anti-abortion type speech until he starts talking about, I kid you not here, the altars of Moloch, okay? The altars of Moloch. Listen to this.
We need to love these people, folks.
Yes,
Let me just tell you something. These people need the love of Jesus.
Yes, they do.
These people need the love of Jesus. I have no idea who that is and why he's talking to them that way, but they need Jesus Christ. God will close these clinics. We don't fight causes.
Right.
We exalt a kingdom whose name is Jesus Christ. That's the most important thing that we need to understand. I want to give you kind of a global perspective real quick. We just got back from Los Angeles, California. There are 4 clinics right around that area. Pastors from large churches, large ministry, parachurch ministries gathered with us at the clinic, the major clinic that they have there. The church is coming out to the gates of hell. We understand that there are all kinds of ways to fight this battle, but we cannot allow altars of Molech like this to not have any witness in front of it.
What's that about, Lewis? The altars of Moloch? Well, Moloch was a god worshipped by the Phoenicians and the Canaanites, and Moloch had associations with a particular kind of child sacrifice by parents. So I guess the connection is abortion is kind of like the child sacrifice rituals of those who worshipped at the altars of Moloch. It's just a complete disconnection from reality. If I find out that you're giving public speeches about the altars of Moloch in front of abortion clinics, I don't trust you to do my home renovation. I don't want you anywhere near my home whatsoever. Is that discriminatory of me, Lewis?
No, I wouldn't call it discriminatory. I'm sure there are plenty of people who eat this stuff right up, and Bible references, David, are just great American things.
Okay, and then this is the coup de grace. There's another interview with Fox News host Shannon Bream where they're both on, David and Jason Benham, and David Benham says that he can only see the comments he made as being offensive if they're completely taken out of context. And then listen to what he says about the emails he's been getting. Watch this.
We're getting bombarded on Facebook and Twitter and emails and our website. They're saying thank you so much for reaching out to us from the homosexual community, Muslims. I mean, folks are all reaching out to us and saying, we see that you guys truly do love us.
Wait. Gay people and Muslims, after hearing your anti-gay and anti-Muslim comments, emailed you saying how it's completely clear to them that you don't hate gays and Muslims and saying, we see that you really love us. I'm going to say right now, I would love to talk to any gay person or Muslim who sent a message to the Benham twins saying, I can see from your comments that you love us. That would be an incredible interview.
Yeah, basically we're calling shenanigans on this one. And I don't think this happened. Perhaps there was one Muslim or perhaps there was one gay person who sent them an email.
Or,
saying,
Lewis, there was someone claiming to be Muslim or gay.
That's true. You can't really tell when it's text over those internet tubes, can you?
No, you really can't. And it's just, I don't want to even think about these guys anymore. So unless there's something really outrageous that we have to tell you about, they're not getting their show. That's the correct decision. It's a business decision. Increasingly, this is just not good business to have people like this. I mean, the altars of Moloch, screaming about the altars of Moloch in front of an abortion clinic, and then telling you about, whether stainless steel or black appliances are now a better way to retain property value. It's just ridiculous.
It's pretty funny, but yeah, you're right. It's the correct decision here. And they even said that they don't really blame HGTV, which means they probably blame the gay agenda.
Yeah, the gay mafia, of course. That's who they blame. President Obama spoke at a Walmart store in Silicon Valley over the weekend to praise companies that were deploying carbon reduction and alternative energy solutions in order to kind of address climate change. And the White House asked, why did President Obama do this at a Walmart? The White House said it's because Walmart has committed to doubling the number of solar energy projects at its stores, Sam's Clubs, and distribution centers. I think this was a completely ridiculous choice. This was absolutely ridiculous to have President Obama go to Walmart to talk about climate change. Number one, President Obama triggered a backlash because of all of the wage issues that Walmart is involved with, the suppression of labor unions, all that stuff. That's just a given, right? But let's go specifically to the climate change stuff. Forget about the labor union and wage stuff for a second. Walmart, in spite of it marketing itself as very energy efficient and sustainable and green, the company has a growing carbon footprint and has been accused of greenwashing its image to appear more environmentally conscious than it is. And we actually have specific numbers. Robert Reich wrote about how the Walmart's greenhouse emissions grew 2% last year to 500,000 metric tons, and it's actually lagging behind other large companies when it comes to renewable power. So you could say, well, David, they're making strides. No other companies that are really big are doing any better. Not true. Not true at all. There are many competing retailers running on 100% renewable power. Walmart's wind and solar projects supply 3% of its American electricity, and that's actually down from 4% 2 years ago. And it ranks below retailers like McDonald's, Whole Foods, Starbucks, and green power usage. And as you know, Lewis, I'm no big fan of any of those companies, but it would have been better to show up there instead of at Walmart.
Anywhere. Walmart is the epitome of like everything that's wrong with this country. So they're going to double their solar output. What does that mean? They're going to take their 10 solar panels and turn it into 20. I've seen a lot of Walmarts, David. I don't think I've ever seen solar panels on one of them, but I don't know. Maybe this is just a PR thing. Maybe he thought he would get more attention if he were speaking out of Walmart.
Well, the one counter argument I got to this is that by showing up there, now Walmart has no choice but to become a leader when it comes to alternative and renewable energy, because President Obama showing up there is going to just upend everything, and they'll know that now they have to really hold themselves to a higher standard. I just don't buy it. I think this was ridiculous. I don't think President Obama should have highlighted Walmart as any kind of leader when it comes to renewable energy. And by the way, why highlight them at all, given the how everything President Obama is saying about low wages and lack of living wages, Walmart is one of the prime perpetrators of in this country.
Yeah, Walmart has no concern for lowering their emissions and renewable energy.
At least not beyond where it's a benefit in terms of marketing and PR.
Right. That's fair. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back after this with so many new clips of Donald Sterling. We're going to talk to the Fox News pranker Max Rice. That should be interesting, and your voicemails and so much more. Stay with us on this Monday afternoon.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
The David Pakman Show membership program is made possible in part by liberalbias.com. In a free society, everyone could vote on which theories to believe. When elite scientists rely on so-called facts, it just shows that they have a liberal bias. Find out more at liberalbias.com. Today's new member of the day is Danny Hartman. Danny, thank you for being a David Pakman Show member. You can join Danny and get the bonus show, the commercial-free audio feed, the commercial-free video episodes, the archive that dates back to 2005, the members-only monthly newsletter, and participation in our quarterly, Google Hangouts, I guess is what we're calling them, online town halls with Lewis and with me. Go to davidpakman.com/membership and sign up today. Also, any shopping you do on Amazon.com, if you first visit our website, davidpakman.com, and click on the Amazon logo, when you shop, Amazon will send us a kickback. What I recommend is bookmarking that link on davidpakman.com and then using it when you shop at Amazon. A lot of people, Lewis, in the last 10 days or so, have been purchasing Thomas Piketty's new book, Capital in the 21st Century. He is the French economist who has completely upended the American economic discussion with a 600 or 700 page book, may even be 800 pages, essentially a modern Karl Marx Das Kapital. And it is interesting that Thomas Piketty is no big fan of Marx, and he is coming up with his own theory as to what the problems are with our status quo capitalist system. And it is one of the best-selling books right now, Lewis. It is amazing to me that in the U.S. right now, one of the best-selling books is a French Marxian economist's translated book about the problems with capitalism.
David, it beats Twilight any day. I'm glad people are reading this.
A lot of emails from people asking if I've bought it or read it yet. I have not, but I plan to. Also, Tom Hartman's new book, The Crash of 2016, is being purchased by a lot of our viewers. I was in Massachusetts over the weekend. I introduced Tom at a book signing and speaking event where he talked about his new book. It was very cool. Good to meet a lot of our viewers also who came out. So Thomas Piketty and Thomas Hartman, two Thomases, a lot of our audience liking their books. And remember, anything you buy through our Amazon link helps to support this program. We have some new interviews and surreptitious recordings with Donald Sterling, the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, who was caught in these racist rants talking to his mistress / right-hand arm man, as she described herself in one interview. I know that doesn't make any sense. Right-hand arm man. Look it up. You'll find it. V. Stiviano. And now he was interviewed by Anderson Cooper. The full interview is going to air tonight, but they've released one segment where he essentially says that he was baited into making the extended racist remarks. Check out the video from Anderson Cooper.
I don't know why the girl had me say those things.
You're saying you were set up?
Well, yes, I was baited. I mean, it's not the way I talk. I don't talk about people, for one thing, ever. I talk about ideas and other things, but I don't talk about people.
Do you know how the tape got released?
No.
The idea that you could be baited into saying insanely racist stuff that you don't actually believe about huge groups of people based on the color of their skin is just so laughable to me. Imagine if Mel Gibson said, listen, I have no negative opinions about Jews, but when that Jewish police officer pulled me over, he set me up to say stuff I don't believe about Jews at all. I mean, it's a ridiculous argument, right? That Donald Sterling was baited into this.
It is. I don't know how you can be baited into saying something like this unless she handed him a piece of paper and said, read this off, please, and recorded him saying it, which it doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, here's the thing. You could say that she baited him into talking about it right then and there when it was being recorded. But the idea that she baited him into saying things he doesn't believe at all is absolutely ridiculous. And Donald Sterling's wife has actually said, and I don't know how serious she is about this, that she thinks these might just be signs of dementia, the initial stages of dementia for Donald Sterling. Absolutely no medical evidence to support that. This is just his own wife, and who knows what her motivations may be for saying that. But that may be even a more reasonable explanation. And we're not saying Donald Sterling is a grand wizard in the KKK or that he's Glenn Miller, the alleged shooter in the Kansas City shootings from a few weeks ago, but a lot of his employees and others say this is a guy who we know to have been racist for a long time, and that's just the reality. Whether it's dementia, according to his wife, or whether he was baited into it by V. Stiviano, we just don't really want him involved with the league.
Right, and I have heard these rumors that he is suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's or something of that nature, and if that's happening, then you probably still don't want him involved in the league, unfortunately.
So then a new recording of Donald Sterling talking about the released audio from his mistress / right-hand arm man, V. Stiviano. There was a new recording about him kind of addressing that. And he explained that what he was trying to do in that racist rant, apparently, is to have sex with V. Stiviano. I don't understand it. I'm going to play it for you. Maybe you can make heads or tails out of it.
But I'm talking to a girl. I'm trying to have sex with her. I'm trying to play with her. What can you know, if you were trying to have sex with a girl and you're talking to her privately and you don't think anybody's there, you may say anything in the world. What difference does it make? Then if the girl tapes it and releases it, my God, it's awful.
Yeah. So listen, when you're trying to have sex with a woman, you'll say anything if it'll get you to into bed with her. However, I don't understand how saying racist things to a half black, half Mexican woman is going to convince her to have sex with you. That's what just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think when you have a black girlfriend and a team full of black players, and then you tell your black girlfriend that you don't want her hanging around with black people, and yet you're trying to have sex with this black girlfriend. I think, unfortunately, we're laughing, but I think this might be a sign that he's kind of losing his mental ground.
Yeah, well, again, his wife saying she thinks that he is starting to suffer from dementia, and if that's the case, this entire thing is incredibly sad. But again, it would still warrant Donald Sterling having reduced or no involvement with the National Basketball Association. And there it is. The racist rant was, who cares what he said? He was just trying to have sex with a half-black woman by going incredibly nuts with a racist rant about black people. Not very logical, but maybe he thought that type of thing turned her on in some strange way. I don't know. Let's take a break. Coming up next, we will talk to Max Rice. I think it will be an interesting interview, to say the least.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
I'm joined today by Max Rice. He is creative director for RFD Pictures. He's founder of MaxRights.com, also chief technical officer for Chicago's possible next mayor, Frederick Collins. And you may recognize Max because he was the guy who we talked about a while ago. He got on Fox News. Fox News was absolutely feverish to present a so-called former Obama supporter who was now voting for Romney. And then this happened. Take a look.
To the Romney-Ryan ticket. Joining me now is a recent college grad, Max Rice. He voted for President Obama. Now he's unemployed and just moved out of his parents' home. Good morning to you, Max.
Hello, Miss USA. It's an honor.
Miss America.
I wish I could see you.
But close enough.
Miss America. Miss Universe in my book.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. Now, tell me your story. You believed in the hope and change of President Obama, and so you voted for him. And tell me about the next 3.5 years.
I was a huge Obama supporter in 2008. I met him in 3rd grade. Met him when I was little.
Okay. And why now are you supporting Mitt Romney?
What's your question?
Why now are you supporting Mitt Romney?
Why am I supporting Mitt Romney? It's actually a funny story. I lost a basketball game to a friend of mine, Alex Dern, who's a huge supporter of this show.
Okay, so it sounds like you're not being very serious.
But I'm also disappointed in the direction that Obama's taking this nation. But yeah, I will be casting my ballot for Mitt Romney.
Okay. Is it true that you had to go back and live with your parents after you graduated from college?
Oh yeah, after I went to college for a bit, I had to go back and live with my parents this summer. I'm back on my own. Independent. I'm on national TV. I feel like I'm doing good. It's an honor.
Okay. Well, are you being serious about this interview or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see your face right now. This is so weird.
All right. Well, actually, we're going to wrap this up now because I'm not so sure that you're actually being totally serious about...
I am. Wait. Why not?
Yeah, I'm not sure that you're ready for prime time yet with this interview.
I'm not ready for prime time. Wait, I've been.
All right, we're gonna give Max another chance, maybe when he's ready to do the interview.
Okay, so Max, let's start at the beginning. How did Fox come to get in touch with you in the first place for this interview?
Well, they have an interesting tactic. They didn't contact me. They kind of they're really tight with a bunch of Tea Party youth group types. And so they didn't contact me. They contacted some high school sophomore who sent out the most massive group text you've ever seen, who's graduated college and who wants to be on national TV.
So, but I don't explain that though. So how were you on the list? You received this mass text?
I wasn't. Yeah, Fox just saw. It really seems they have really tight relations with young, like intense, not Republican, but like kind of more fringe Republican youth groups. And they contacted them, and one of the kids happens to be friends with, I used to do debate in high school, and one of the kids I taught in debate was friends with this kid. And so I just happened to be on this group text message list.
I see. So it's a pretty distant connection. So at some point they say...
It's shocking because, because it was a very distant connection. They don't know me. I didn't graduate college, obviously. I was still in high school at the time. And within 30 seconds of saying, yeah, I want to be on national TV, they tell me I'm the best candidate. Do I have any friends? Should I reach out? Should I send a mass text message? So, it just seemed they were at a desperate point.
So someone from Fox News contacts you and they say what? We want to interview you about what? Like, what's the premise of the interview?
It was more of like a coat. It was more like, all right, you're casted. Here's your role.
So they said they wanted you to come on and play a particular role, you're saying?
Well, they approached it like I was being casted for a TV show, kind of like a Jerry Springer type thing, where they were more just being like, you're going to get a limo. We're going to give you free food. You come to the studio. There's going to be 5 million people. By the way, here's what you have to say.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that, Max. So Max, how specifically did they tell you what it was you were supposed to say?
In two different ways, because my phone was just going off the hook, because it was like a 9-day process. Like I was contacted on September 7th, and I was supposed to go on the 11th, but then Benghazi happened. That was a huge deal. But they had 2 producers that would contact me and kind of coach me and be like, all right, so let's make sure you're a hardcore conservative. Let's go through the ropes. You believed in Obama's hope and change thing. Make sure to talk about that. So, I mean, there was a producer who kind of like went by it real quickly. Like they'd have like a touch base type. And then the kid that contacted me initially would call me like 2 or 3 times a day and be like, "Hey, Max, like you weren't saying enough of this. They yelled at me. Max, make sure to talk about this. They yelled at me."
Okay,
Max,
so who and what are the names of the producers who were coaching you?
She's fired now. I feel bad for her, Lee Kushner.
Okay.
Except it's weird. The reason, because I didn't know I was going to be on Fox and Friends, but I have a very personal vendetta against Fox and Friends.
Okay. So you get on this interview, right? And then they say stuff that's just not true. They say you voted for Obama last time. It turns out you weren't even old enough to vote for Obama last time, right?
I was 16, yeah.
Okay, so total lack of fact checking. Now, here's the thing. In the interview, it takes like a full 2 minutes for Gretchen Carlson to say she doesn't think you're taking it seriously. When you went on and you were going to clearly be pranking them, how long did you honestly expect to even be allowed to stay on the show?
I didn't expect to get into the building. To be quite honest, I was pretty paranoid. Like they kept offering me the free limos. They kept offering me like, hey, let's come to your dorm and pick you up. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. They want to pick me up for my dorm. How about that for fact-checking? Like, if I'm a college graduate, but I live in a dormitory? I mean, anyway, so I'm just very paranoid, and I get there at 5:30 in the morning, and I was surprised because it's a really nice building on Wacker Drive, and it was empty. There was just a doorman. Talk to the doorman. Go to the 5th floor. Go to the 5th floor. There was like one cameraman and one makeup lady. And so then I kind of just like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. So then the interview happens. You get off the interview. She says you're not taking it seriously. We saw that. What's the aftermath?
The aftermath. You mean the last year and a half, or like the immediate aftermath? That was euphoria. That was cool because then it was 5:55 in the morning in Chicago. Absolutely beautiful. No one really. I didn't think it'd be a big deal. They every time they called me to kind of coach me to what to say, it always came from an unknown number. So I got used to ignoring those calls. So immediately afterwards, I get 2 calls from an unknown number. Hang up. Just outside, in the most touristy part of Chicago. It's beautiful out. I didn't get hounded yet. So I mean, that was like immediately after it was euphoric.
Right.
And then like I'd say 15 minutes later, when my friend was watching it with his family, and he called in. He's like, "Man, that's really funny. This could go viral. You're gonna be famous." And then I'm just like.
So then, what was? But there was blowback though, right? Like some people were really upset with you.
It was all over the board, and I kind of became very to be quite honest, I was very disenfranchised with life at that point, because like a lot of people that hadn't been talking to me started emailing me, like second cousins, or like, "Hey, I work for an agent. Do you want to come out to New York? You want to come out to LA? My friend's a literary agent." And it's like, why didn't you? Where were you last week?
Can you imagine Max writing a book? I mean, as funny as this was, the idea of writing an entire book based on this one appearance on Fox and Friends. I mean, that's hilarious, right?
Oh no! I'm a writer in general.
Okay, all right. So they it wasn't specifically.
This could be a book because it did get pretty out of control, crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Max. This has been fascinating. We are out of time. We've had our 10 minutes. To be honest, the most fascinating thing is I can't tell if you've pranked me during this interview because your demeanor is just very, very funny and unusual. That I can actually now I'm seeing. Maybe that's why Gretchen Carlson didn't realize it quickly.
Well, on the interview, I didn't lie. I met Obama in 3rd grade. I lost a bet to Alex Dern in a basketball game. I made the decision not to. I could have pranked him. I could have been, yes, I'm very anti-Obama. I could have been an intense hick, been an Italian tough guy, whatever the fuck. I could have pranked him. I didn't prank him.
Yeah.
Guess I'm an interesting guy. People are like, "Oh, that's your 15 seconds of fame." Other way around. It's a 15-second iTunes preview for the masses. I'll be back. It wasn't a publicity stunt or a prank or anything like that. It was a personal vendetta.
All right.
I had the opportunity. Why not? Here I am.
There you go. Few people get the chance. Max Rice. Max, thank you for being on with us today.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
This is so funny. Geraldo Rivera on Fox News decided to take his camera crew to a midtown Manhattan diner to get reactions from, just everyday Americans, random people, about an EPA official who watched pornography at work but didn't get fired. So the diner is a place where Geraldo says you can, quote, get a great cross-section of people living in the New York metropolitan area. But who are these people that he talked to? Everyday Americans who are just outraged at how bad government employment is. Well, it turns out that they're Fox Business hosts, Charlie Gasparino and Lori Rothman. You're going to hear the first person that they interview is just a random person, as far as I know. The second and third people are other Fox News hosts on the Fox Business channel. They're not identified as such. They're just presented as random people who are really angry with the government and by connection with the Obama administration. This is amazing. Check this out.
So what'd you find out?
Well, we found out. I'll let people see for themselves. But, it is impossible to be fired from the EPA or any of the federal agencies. We checked in 2010. There was one firing for every 1,000 employees. You're more likely to die of natural causes than you are to be fired. So Brother Craig went to the Evergreen Diner. We know it well on West 47th Street, where you do get a great cross-section of people in the New York metropolitan area, at least. He asked them, what would happen to you, or what would you like to happen to people watching porn all day long here?
They should be fired because we pay them our money. It's wasting.
Here's the problem, and I think this is where you can't get away with that in private industry. There's just no way. You know what I'm saying? Government allows you to get away with it because there's essentially nobody watching the store.
It's wrong. It does create a hostile work environment, and if anybody should be walking by and kind of look over the shoulder to see what's going on, it's absolutely harassment.
The Obama administration should do the same thing, Lewis. They should have President Obama come out and say, the Affordable Care Act is working. Today we went to a diner and we talked to just random Americans who are telling us how great it is. The camera then cuts to Joe Biden, who says, listen, anyone who tells you that Obamacare isn't working is just feeding you malarkey. It's just a bunch of stuff. I'd be convinced, Lewis. It would just be a random guy who's telling us how well Obamacare is working.
Yeah, it's incredible. I can't believe that the anchor here. What's her name again?
Who was it? I actually don't know who it was.
I see her all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't believe she admitted that these were Fox employees immediately after watching the clip. You would have think that she would have just kept that hush hush. Comes out and says, she says, it's so funny that you got these two people. And then Geraldo says, oh yeah, well, they're right next door. Apparently he just walked out of the building, went next door and interviewed a bunch of Fox employees.
This is what we call inbred news, right? I wonder how long they spent trying to find actual outraged Americans before saying, hey, we'll just talk to our own staff.
You get the answers you want, and it's way more convenient because you know they'll be willing to talk to you.
Next, they'll be doing an expose on what should happen to people browsing liberal news at work, and they're going to talk to outraged individual Americans named Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh. They're going to just weigh in, completely disconnected from any involvement with Fox News.
Imagine if a Fox News employee got busted watching the David Pakman Show at work. They'd probably be tarred and feathered.
Hey, the New York Daily News reported that the Dutchess County Controller, Republican Jim Coughlin, who is also a candidate for the New York State Senate, tweeted that Melissa Harris Perry is a damn dirty ape. Melissa Harris Perry is the African-American host at MSNBC. The tweet from Jim Coughlin was, keep your stinking paws off my kid, you damn dirty ape. According to the Daily News, Coughlin denies knowing that Harris Perry is even African-American, saying, hey, he was just quoting a line from the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, not racist at all, just completely believable. It's a total coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. Just like when that guy said that President Obama was throwing spears, it was just a total coincidence. It had nothing to do with spear chucking analogies, and it's just all a horrible, horrible misunderstanding. And I'm just shocked, Lewis, that any Republican would say something racist about a minority who happens to be progressive and then just deny altogether that it was racist.
If he truly didn't know that she was black, okay, we have some plausible deniability here. I doubt that's the case. And if he didn't say this as an intentional racist remark, I think subconsciously his brain is obviously still making that connection.
Wait, Lewis. You're racist as a progressive for seeing racism in his comments. You're making this about race.
If you want to play that card, it's fine. I just don't think anyone will believe you did.
No, there's people on the right who believe that. It's all over the internet. I mean, it's just insane.
It is. It's crazy. So I think subconsciously, perhaps his brain made that connection. I mean, if he said it intentionally, well, then he's an idiot.
All right, let's go to your voicemails. 219-2David P. Listen to this.
Hey, guys. This is Joey from Connecticut. I wanted to second Erica's opinion. I think Lewis's beer review segment in the bonus show was pretty awesome. Bit of a beer snob myself, and that Stella Artois stuff is piss.
What?
I think you need to drink more beer and review more beer on the bonus show. It was kind of fascinating. I definitely enjoyed it.
All right, so Lewis, the point, people just loving your beer review segments on the bonus show. We've gotten so much feedback from people. I mean, it's crazy. People love the beer reviews.
I have an idea, and I'm going to talk about it on the bonus show. I just had a brilliant idea, David. It's about beer. It'll be on the bonus show.
All right, davidpakman.com/membership. Get the bonus show. We will talk about whether people would have sex with a robot. We'll talk about veterans with PTSD, denied medical marijuana in Colorado, and so much more, including Lewis's new idea. davidpakman.com/membership to sign up. We will talk to you then.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.